Welcome, beloved, to the Ascension Café. I'm so glad you're here. This is a gentle, relaxed space for soul conversations where awakening meets everyday life. A place to pause, to breathe, and explore what it means to live with greater awareness, love, compassion, and truth. You don't need to be anywhere special or to know anything in particular. Just bring yourself exactly as you are. So grab yourself a cuppa, settle in, and let's dive into this week's reflections together. Let's begin. So if you don't know me, I'm Carrie Knott, and I'm here with this beautiful mission, this divine mission to share wisdom and teachings, not only through my own experience of the awakening process, but also through observations, through my teachings and the spaces that I've held over the past 5 or 6 years. This beautiful mission came to me some time ago, and it's been a while in creation. And it's really interesting that this is beginning at the start of, yes, yes, of course, it is a new year, but it is also a new energetic space on planet Earth. We have shifted collectively, and I'm sure you can feel that in your bones. And I'm sure, like many of you, over the Christmas period, you had lots of opportunity to come together with your loved ones. It's so important, isn't it? It's just really a beautiful, blessed time. And whatever Christmas means to you, whether it means nothing at all, or whether you hold it as a deeply sacred, holy time, it is that beautiful time, isn't it, of coming together with our loved ones. For me, like many of us awakened souls, Christmas and New Year is a time to gather with family to celebrate life, but it is also a very sacred time. It is that time to celebrate the Christ consciousness. The ascended Master Christ, he brought to us pure ascension teachings. And it was a beautiful lifetime, a powerful lifetime. What he taught us all about compassion, love, forgiveness, honoring your journey, honoring yourself, but becoming aware of your divinity, the heavenly realms that reside within you, within your heart. And the fact that you resonate, you vibrate with that very energy and that frequency of love. And what a beautiful, amazing mission that was. So for me, Christmas is all of those things. And I've never really been one to connect with New Year. I've always felt a bit of a sadness, a weird melancholy around New Year. And I've always kind of found that build up to Christmas really challenging. As a child, I was a very sensitive soul, and I really could see, feel that suffering that people experienced in this earthly life, not just people, but all beings, sentient beings that walk this planet. I always felt a real strong sense of justice and fairness. And I think that Christmas heightened this for many years for me. I don't want to talk about my stories of the past in this particular episode, but it's important that you understand the journey and experience I went on over this Christmas and New Year period, because I truly believe that it will resonate with you at some level, and it will help and support you to understand where you are at right now on your ascension path and how you are embodying that in your conscious everyday life. So Christmas this year felt different. I'd moved out, I'd shifted out of that energy of being in judgment, of kind of questioning the whole point of Christmas, the whole point of a lot of things, and judging the ridiculous amounts of money that was spent, the materialism, the programming, the real programming that actually ripples right through that period. That is control. So this year felt different. I'd shifted out of all of that. I was feeling much more peaceful. And yes, I observed the hustle and bustle, the busyness before the Christmas period. But this time, instead of being in judgment, I truly saw where I had too been in that place. For many years, I had bought into that programming. And the judgment of myself and others was gone. It was replaced with this beautiful inner peace, this deep loving kindness and compassion for myself and for others. But it wasn't easy to get there. Oh no, it really wasn't easy to get there. If I'm being truly honest with you, and this is what this space is about. It's been about being raw and real. It's about being human. This Christmas time was tough. Of course, I enjoy coming together with my loved ones. I was extremely blessed to spend time with my children, my grandchildren, and my wider family, my sister, her husband, my dad, my niece and nephew, and their lovely partners. It was a really beautiful time. But throughout that whole Christmas period, I was going through a huge death. I was in a very dark place. I had rage, real rage surfacing from within me. The anger was consuming, it was overwhelming. And yes, of course, 2025 had seen much loss for me. I'd lost my beautiful mum and I'd lost my beloved dog, Brooklyn. But this was more, this was more. This was so raw. I was laid naked, vulnerable. I was emptied of everything I believed about myself, my life, even my missions. I questioned my very fabric of existence, my whole point of being here, the whole point of us all being here. I was questioning the Ascension path, and I was questioning everything that I had learnt and believed in. This was a death cycle beyond all death cycles. My heart was bleeding raw. I felt vulnerable. I felt out of control, unstable, ungrounded. And even at times, I felt completely crazy. I felt like I had lost my mind. Something deep within me, something deep, deep within me knew that this all had great purpose. And instead of trying to fight it, trying to control it, I just had to allow it to happen. But that came with great challenges. It was Christmas after all, and of course, my family and friends, I was around them. And I had to remain in this deep, peaceful, grounded place. The last thing on earth I wanted to do was to project all of that onto my loved ones. And my poor husband, who was on a Christmas break from work, he was observing this. He was observing the tears, the outbursts of anger. And I could see his bewilderment at it all. I could see him. I could see his frustration at not being able to help me. And he got from having this really beautiful, kind of grounded wife who was very calm, centered, balanced, to this wild screaming banshee, this absolute nutcase. And I'm emotional, but I'm also laughing because I can look back and kind of see how powerful it all was. To go through this process in a time where the circumstances were not ideal. They were anything but ideal. But of course, they were divinely orchestrated and they were divinely perfect. So, how did I get there? How did I get there? How did I come out of the other side? Freya, liberated. Well, I knew. I've taught this for years. I knew, like I said before, I couldn't control this process. I just had to allow it to happen. I couldn't force anything, I was at the point of no return. I just had to simply face it head on because, this death process, we can't skirt around it. We can't just dip our toes into it. We have to just do it. We have to just go with it. Yeah, so I took myself off into my room here where I am with you now in the Ascension Cafe. I cried, I prayed, but I didn't ask my guides to help me heal. I didn't ask them to help me go through the process. I just asked them to simply sit with me while I held sacred space for myself. While I allowed whatever emotion come up and surface to just be, to be present in it, to allow it. I didn't judge myself. I didn't even observe it. I just allowed it. And then I just sat and I just listened to my heart. And every time my ego mind shouted louder and louder, I just asked it to step back. I took some deep breaths. I listened to some high vibrational, soft, gentle, loving music. And in that stillness, there was no big epiphany moment. There was no big, huge moment of shift or enlightenment. There was just me feeling all my emotions, raw, real. Every ounce of grief, not just this lifetime, every lifetime. Every bit of suffering, just acknowledging, just being in it, sitting in it. And I did this whenever I could over the entire Christmas period. And then, as if like magic, I woke up on Christmas Eve and something in me had changed. And I've been through these death and birth cycles before, several times, and they're always different. But this one was huge. This was massive. And I just awoke and I just knew that it was done. It was complete. It was gone. And yeah, of course, I'm still healing. But that healing has replaced the angst. It's replaced the questioning with a deep trust. And it's made me realize that the more faith and trust I have in this journey, the easier I can move through any transitions with ease, grace, and flow. And I certainly didn't do that at first with this particular process. But this is the ascension path, isn't it, beloveds? You know, once we are awoken to our truth, our divinity, then we are also awoken to other aspects of ourselves, the shadow aspects, we call them, the parts of us that we've so masterfully hidden. And we've dug so deep inside of us that, oh gosh, it would take a JCP to get right down in there and dig it out. You know, and of course, like many of us, I've been through this kind of healing before. But things can only really truly rise when they're ready to. And it's not about being right or wrong. There isn't ever any right or wrong. Every choice, every decision we make leads us somewhere, it takes us somewhere. But there are always lessons to be garnered, and there are always great blessings to be had. And I just feel and sense that for each and every one of us, when we're going through these cycles, the only way through it is through love. It's through loving kindness for ourselves, self-compassion. It's about releasing judgment for ourselves and just holding that sacred space. Sometimes you might have to say to loved ones, I need some time to myself. I'm going through a huge process and I just need to step back and be there. And I guess the guidance I want to share with you today, the wisdom from all of this is that just be still with it, allow it to happen. It will likely come at a time that is really inconvenient in your human life. But that's kind of the whole point. Because awakening isn't about being perfect. It isn't about everything being perfect. It's about awareness. It's about moving into that place of compassion and self-love and kindness for yourself. Because it's only really when we do that, it's only really that we can then give that to others. We can truly give that to others. It's easy to say you love somebody unconditionally. It's easy to say, oh, I've gone through this healing process. But really, the mastery of that is not about what we say. It's about what we do. And even what we don't do. Just allowing. So, beloveds, I really hope that this first session in the Ascension Cafe has really helped you. If you too are going through that process right now, or you've been through one before, I just invite you to allow these words to settle in. I invite you to visit my YouTube channel. There is a beautiful violet flame transmission and loving kindness meditation. On my website, carryknott.com, there is a blog linked to this podcast and blog. And there are some beautiful affirmations that you can use to help you move through a death and birth cycle. And I invite you to engage in those too. Do what feels right for you. So thank you for joining me, beloveds, in this space. It has been an absolute pleasure and honour, and I am truly grateful for you to connect with you here. So as we come to this closing off this time together, may anything that resonated settle softly in your heart. May you carry this awareness gently into your day, into your breath, your choices, your moments of stillness. Remember, you are supported, guided, and loved. All is well and all will be well. You are exactly where you need to be right now. Thank you for sharing this space with me. And until we meet again, may you walk in clarity, compassion, love, and light. Loving blessings from me, Carrie Knott, in the Ascension Cafe.